Hey Matadors, it's your principal, Julie Parks, and I'm here to give you some exciting news. We're getting very close to being able to open in hybrid instruction. I could not be more excited to welcome our Matadors back to campus. So in this presentation, I hope to outline some of the things that we can expect in the upcoming weeks. We still have some work to do and a little bit of time to wait, but we are getting closer. This presentation is meant to summarize some of the information that was discussed in our recent governing board meeting by Associate Superintendent Aida Glimme. Hopefully at the conclusion of this, you'll have a little bit of a better understanding about what to expect in the upcoming weeks. The first thing that's important to know is that we are operating under a lot of different types of guidelines to be able to reopen as a school. The first major body is the California Department of Public Health, and recently they issued a framework that sets mandates for reopening for in-person instruction. Contra Costa County Health Services also issues local requirements for our reopening within the county. And using these things together, the AUHSD, our Acalanes Union High School District, developed and issued a set of procedures for parents and students and detailed guidance for staff. Here's the good news. As these guidelines have rolled out, our preparation over the last few months has really been right in line with what we need to do according to our state guidelines. So we already did a lot of work to get us ready to be able to reopen as quickly as possible. Things like safety and health protocols have already been developed. Our facilities are ready to go. Miramani staff are all working back on campus and working from their classrooms and offices. And we're already working on student online modules for in-person orientations that will focus on training our kids on how to come back safely to school. We've already gotten a great head start, so we're going to be ready to go as soon as possible. So let me take you through a few CDPH essentials. So the California Department of Public Health says that schools may reopen at all grades if they are located in counties in the red, orange, or yellow tiers. Schools may not reopen for grades 7 through 12 if the county is in the purple tier. This is a little confusing because our elementary schools and our partner districts are talking about reopening a bit sooner because they are permitted to open within the purple tier. But as a high school, we need to wait until we are in the red tier to be able to reopen our doors. Now, it's not even quite that simple because after we go into the red tier, we need to be in the red tier for 5 consecutive days prior to providing in-person instruction. So that means that we've got to kind of back up and create a timeline and a plan that matches all of these guidelines. The good news, Miramani is ready to open as soon as it's allowable. We're going to get our kids back. So let's look at the timeline. And now all of this, disclaimer, is really based on assumptions from projections and different models that we've been looking at carefully at our district office. Considering that the start date is tied to the red tier, the exact date of the start of school is really a moving target. We have to meet those red tier metrics. Now, for those of you who haven't been intricately following the metrics for the different tiers, let me sum it up for you. There are a few things we have to meet. COVID case rate has to be 7.0 or less new cases per 100,000 residents per day. The positivity rate has to be 8% or less of tests countywide being positive. And then there's an additional metric called the equity metric, which mandates that 8% or less of tests for residents in the lowest quartile of Healthy Places Index census are testing positive for COVID-19. So there's a few different benchmarks that we have to meet, and all these together combine to determine whether or not we can move tiers. The bottom line for you to know, we got to get to 7.0 new cases per 100,000. That is the last benchmark that we have to meet here in Contra Costa County to be ready to open in the red tier. So what might this look like? We go into the red tier and we can reopen for in-person instruction. And Contra Costa County right now is projected to enter the red tier in late February. The official tier designations are made on Tuesdays, so we have to eagerly await for next Tuesday to see where we are. The county must be in the red tier for 5 consecutive days prior to providing in-person instruction. So, anticipating that we might have an official announcement to be made on the Tuesday of the last week of February, Miramani will then shift to its transition plan. And this includes 1 day of professional development, that will be a non-instructional day for students, 4 days of asynchronous instruction for students where we're going to be training them using some online and in-person modules, and then another PD day for our teachers that's a non-instructional day for students. Now don't worry, we borrowed these non-instructional days from other PD days that we had already built into the schedule, but we've moved around so that we can use them when we really need to, which is right before we open for in-person learning. That means that given our projections right now, we anticipate the first day of in-person instruction for students is probably going to happen during the first week of March. All of this is totally dependent on hitting those benchmarks, but this is our best guess right now. So here's a calendar. Disclaimer, this calendar is not filled with all of the most up-to-date information because we still don't know exactly what that's going to be. But if on February 16th, Contra Costa County demonstrates red tier data, that's data collected up through the 13th of February, then we can anticipate the timeline in front of you to be what we follow as on our path to reopening. So we'll be looking forward to see what is said on February 16th. If it looks like we have red tier data, you can expect that we will have a professional development day, non-instructional day for students on February 22nd. And then we will begin our work through that whole week, getting our students and our staff ready to go. You can see the countdown there in red. If Contra Costa County is placed in the red officially on February 23rd, then we start counting those 5 days that we have to be in the red before we can officially reopen. Those days could be the 24th, the 25th, the 26th, and then the weekend, the 27th and the 28th, and then we'll be ready to reopen our school. During the week of February 22nd, there'll be a few things happening. Not only will teachers have some professional development on Monday, but on the 23rd, the 24th, the 25th, and the 26th, our students will do some asynchronous work. They'll still be doing a live check-in in the morning with their cohort teachers, and then they will be deployed to do some asynchronous work. 2 days, they will actually be doing some asynchronous work on Canvas, going through a safety module, just making sure that they know exactly what to expect when they come back to school. 2 days will be asynchronous work given by the classes, so on the coursework that the kids are working on within their class time. During this time, we will also be doing student tours of campus. Stay tuned for more information about when those tours will happen for your student. On March 1st, we'll have a second professional development day borrowed from another time to make sure our teachers are ready to go. That's another non-instructional day for our kids. And on March 2nd, if we get to the red tier as anticipated, we're looking to open for in-person instruction. So what now? Here's some next steps that you should be aware of. If you are considering a change of instructional model, meaning you have your student signed up to be in a hybrid model and you're looking to be distance, or you have your student signed up for the distance model and you're looking to transition to hybrid, we need to know that information as soon as possible. If your placement is good and what you selected earlier and all of that still works for you, no need to reach out. But if you're looking for a change from one model to another, please let us know as soon as you can. We do have limited spaces in our COVID-ready classrooms, so we need to know this information as soon as possible to make sure that we have seats for as many kids as we can possibly take into our live classroom environment. Staff professional development and support will be happening throughout the rest of this month and specifically during that week of asynchronous learning. There's a lot for our staff to get ready to do. We're looking to have iPads in the classroom so students who are at home can have an interactive experience. Our teachers are really thinking about what their curriculum needs to look like with a little bit of a redesign, given the way that the days are going to flow is going to look a little bit different. There's a lot to do to make sure that we can continue to offer that high level of learning that we want to for your kids. And lastly, we'll be having student safety and health protocol training. This will look like a Canvas class where kids will be able to go through and look at a bunch of great videos made by our leadership students and instructions from administration. It will also look like kids coming live on campus and physically walking through our facilities to understand what all of the different structures and procedures need to look like to make sure that we're minimizing risk whenever possible. I am really excited to finally move to this next chapter of this crazy year, and I cannot wait to see our students back on campus. I hope this gave you some information to help you out as we navigate this time. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Have a great day and go Mats.